Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's headlines, the leaders of the center-left Zionist Union, Yitzhak, Herzog and Tzipi Livni, issue a document calling for the Jewish state to engage the United States in dialogue on the Iranian issue so as to improve the nuclear agreement and reach understandings that will meet Israel's security needs. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls on U.S. President Barack Obama not to lift the sanctions on the Islamic Republic of Iran as part of any final nuclear agreement. Mimouna celebrations marking the end of the Passover holiday were held across Israel over the weekend despite the stormy weather in the country that forced a cancellation of many of the traditional festivities. The leaders of the center-left Zionist Union, Yitzhak, Herzog and Tzipi Livni, issued a document calling for Israel to engage the United States in dialogue on the Iranian issue so as to improve the nuclear agreement and reach understandings that will meet Israel's security needs. Herzog and Livni stated that the understandings with the United States must relate to expanding and increasing the IDF's defensive and offensive capabilities. Furthermore, the alliance and the strategic cooperation with the United States must be strengthened in a way that improves Israel's power of deterrence and provides Israel with an American umbrella and with unlimited capabilities for action against threats from Israel's enemies that Iran supports and violations of the nuclear agreement. And in particular, legitimacy from the outset for any action that Israel is forced to take to maintain its security. This latter sentence is interpreted as a demand for acceptance of an Israeli strike against the Iranian nuclear program in case of a blatant violation by the Islamic Republic of the nuclear agreement. Meanwhile, on Saturday, while at the Americas Summit in Panama, U.S. President Barack Obama expressed optimism for Iran and the P5+1, the United States, Russia, China, France, Britain, and Germany, to finalize a deal to curb Tehran's nuclear program, despite strong words last week from the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
What's always been clear is that Iran has its own politics around this issue. They have their own hardliners. They have their own countervailing impulses in terms of whether or not to go forward with something, just as we have in our country. And so it's not surprising to me that the Supreme Leader or a whole bunch of other people are going to try to characterize the deal in a way that protects their political position. But I know what was discussed in arriving at the political agreement. What I've always said, though, is that there's the possibility of backsliding. There's the possibility that it doesn't get memorialized in a way that satisfies us, that we're able to verify that, in fact, Iran is not getting a nuclear weapon, and that we are preserving the capacity to snap back sanctions in the event that they are breaking any deal. There may be ways of structuring a final deal that satisfy their pride, their optics, their politics, but meet our core practical objectives. And that's what we've got to give the negotiators room to determine.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu differed sharply with U.S. President Barack Obama in assessing Iran's demand to lift all nuclear-related sanctions against it in tandem with the signing of any final nuclear deal.
In the last few days, Iran has shown again why it can't be trusted. Iran insists on maintaining its formidable nuclear capabilities with which it could produce nuclear weapons. Iran insists on removing all sanctions immediately, and Iran refuses to allow effective inspections of all its suspect facilities. At the same time, Iran continues its unbridled aggression in the region and its worldwide terrorism in the world. So let me reiterate again the two main components of the alternative to this bad deal. First, instead of allowing Iran to preserve and develop its nuclear capabilities, a better deal would significantly roll back these capabilities, For example, by shutting down the illicit underground facilities that Iran concealed for years from the international community. Second, instead of lifting the restrictions on Iran's nuclear facilities and program at a fixed date, a better deal would link the lifting of these restrictions to an end of Iran's aggression in the region, its worldwide terrorism, and its threats to annihilate Israel. Iran needs a deal more than anyone. Instead of making dangerous concessions to Iran, now is the time for the international community to reassert and fortify its original demands for a better deal. We must not allow Iran, the foremost sponsor of global terrorism, to have an easy path to nuclear weapons, which will threaten the entire world.
The Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, demanded that all sanctions on Iran be lifted at the same time as any final agreement with the world powers is concluded. Khamenei, the Islamic Republic's most powerful figure and who has the last say on all state matters, was making his first comments on the interim deal reached between Iran and the world powers in the Swiss city of Lausanne. He repeated his faith in President Hassan Rouhani's negotiating team, but in remarks apparently meant to keep his hardliner loyalists on side, he warned about the so-called devilish intentions of the United States.
اگر از من بپرسن شما موافقید یا مخالف میگم نه موافقم نه مخالف چون اتفاقی هنوز نیفتاده است هنوز کاری نشده همه مشکل بر سر اون جزئیاتی است که بناس بنشینن یکایک اونها رو بحث کنن اون چه تا کنون انجام گرفته است نه اصل توافق را و مذاکره منتهی به توافق رو تضمین میکنه نه محتوای توافق رو تضمین میکنه هیچ کدوم رو حتی تضمین نمی کند که این مذاکرات تا به آخر برسد و به یک توافق منتهی بشه بنده هیچ وقت به مذاکره با آمریکا خوشبین نبودم نه از باب یک توهم بلکه از باب تجربه کردیم.
In other news, Mimouna celebrations marking the end of the Passover holiday were held across Israel on Saturday evening, despite the stormy weather that forced the cancellation of many of the traditional festivities. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu attended celebrations in Or Akiva and spoke about the need for unity.
יש תנופה גדולה מאוד במדינת ישראל, ואנחנו מחויבים להמשיך אותה על ידי דאגה לשלושה דברים. ראשית, אחדות העם. זה בא לידי ביטוי במימונה, אבק הבחירות כבר שקע, צריך לחזק את האחדות בקרב אזרחי ישראל ועם ישראל, וכך נעשה. שנית, רווחת העם. אנחנו מחויבים להמשיך בפיתוח הכלכלי המואץ ומרשים של מדינת ישראל, אבל לדאוג שהדבר הזה ילווה גם בהורדת יוקר המחיה ובייחוד מחירי הדירות, ולצורך זה צריך להגדיל את ההיצע. והדבר השלישי, שאולי הדבר הראשון, זה לדאוג לביטחון העם. אנחנו עומדים בפני אתגרים גדולים ורבים.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that those 3 points are the main focus of the new government that he will head. Thank you for watching us. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hessen. Have a Erev Tov and Shavua Tov, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.